Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pokemon Draft League. I am your host for this cast, Ali hipsterbrownkid Sheikh. I'm joined here with Jakob Jookeb of the Charlotte Charizards and Chris Moriarty Marks of the Toronto Trick Rumors. So we are looking at a matchup, a repeat of the championship match from last season with the Chapel Hill Hawluchas versus the West Texas Wingulls.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Should be a banger.
I'm really excited to get into this match. Seems like it's going to be a really fun one.
yeah, you know it. It's always a banger when these two guys play. And let's jump right into it. We've got a preview of the teams that they're bringing for this week. Um, Chapel Hill is bringing that Galarian Moltres, the Grimmsnarl, the Basculegion, Gastrodon, a Cantonian Slowbro, and a Magneton. And West Texas is here with their Zapdos, their Wellspring Ogerpon, their Politoed, their Hisuian Arcanine, their Kumao, and the Volbeat. So, Chris, tell me, what do you think about the Chapel Hill team for this week?
Well, first things first, you got to honor them. Both of these teams possessing Basculegion, they agreed to the handshake. They brought the Basculegion. West Texas kind of breaking the truce, not bringing the Basculegion to the mirror. But I think you've got a lot of really good defensive tools here. I think if this is a slower game, Chapel Hill looks great. The question is going to be, did they bring enough offense? And I think that's what we're going to have to look for in these games.
True, true. Jacob, how are you feeling about the other side of this matchup?
Well, I think kind of to Chris's last point there, I think West Texas has kind of brought a good bit of offense for this matchup. But the only thing I'm really worried about is actually the Gastrodon on the Chapel Hill Hawluchas side. That kind of really shuts down the Ogre Pawn and a little bit of what the Politoed want to do. But overall, I think this team can really dish out some good damage, and it's got a couple ways to get some speed control, set Tailwind and such. So I think it's pretty good.
Well, maybe we got two spooky looking teams. Unfortunate on the handshake. I'm hoping John from Chapel Hill honors our handshake of us both bringing the Bears.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. But yeah, so
I wonder how many people are going to get that reference because I feel like it's not going to be many.
I hope it's so many. But yeah, so Ali, you've asked us about our thoughts about each of the teams, but how do you think these two match up actually together while we've got a little bit of time left?
Oh boy, filler content. Um, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really seem like either team has a clear advantage in this matchup. They've all kind of got counters to what the other one wants to do. There's that Gastrodon to try and mess up what Ogerpon wants to do. And there's the Zapdos to try and deal with the Moltres and the Basculegion. And I mean, we've got a couple of wild cards sitting on each team. Nobody knows what Kamo is gonna do. Is it even a good Pokemon?
I did
But
get to see it in
I'm very
practice.
excited to see these low tiers, see what the Magneton is cooking and what this Volbeat is cooking.
I
I mean, oh, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
I have actually gotten to see both of these teams. I practiced with West Texas and I did some warm up games today with Chapel Hill. So I can tell you we are in for some things that I was not ready for. Having the Volbeat partner in Elamai's on my team, I know a little bit of what that thing's up to, but there are some spicy shenanigans being cooked up today out of the low tiers. I think we're actually going to get to see them hit the field and make some impact on both sides, which is always fun and exciting.
I'm
Uh,
ready to see it.
all I can say is, as a Magnezone enjoyer, I'm just really hoping that this Magneton gets out there, maybe has an Eviolite or something like that, and can really kind of show what it can do,
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Oh,
And with that, looks like they're about to get into team preview.
Oh boy, it's finally time.
it does look like it. So let's get ourselves on over to the game broadcast. Oh, that is a pitch black screen for y'all right now. So big shout out to Caleb and the West Texas Wingulls for hitting us up with the live feed for today's stream. You can find him at twitch.tv/the_c_goal. Also, the other coach, John Moore, is doing his first ever stream right now, so that's exciting. And that is Twitch TV / John Morpheus, like the character from The Matrix. So we got a little bit of time while they are putting these teams together. Ali, now that we can see items and things like that, what's catching your attention here?
That Arcanine is gonna go real fast. Got a Scarf there. I think we're kind of getting a preview of what this Como wants to do. I'm feeling it's some kind of funky setup. A Throat Spray, the Clangorous Soul is what I think the move is called, where it just boosts solid stats.
Yo.
I want to see it go off. I wanted this on my team, but
Definitely.
stuff happened in the draft.
That's one way to put it.
We don't talk about it.
For people that do want context, that VOD is up on our YouTube channel, where you are most likely currently finding this content. So scroll on over, find the Season 11 draft, watch it all go downhill for just about everybody. But an interesting selection here from West Texas for this first game. It looks like we are actually about to get into it. So, gentlemen,
Boy,
any
it's
final
finally time.
thoughts?
And my wish comes true. We get the Magneton right off the bat. The Magneton and the Grimmsnarl for the Chapel Hill Hawluchas. And on the West Texas Wingull side, we get the Ogerpon and the Volbeat to start off.
So,
This is a great lead to start off. I love this.
yeah, it's crazy how little offense there is, but that makes it so much more interesting to see what these are going to do. Is Grimmsnarl going for screens? Is it going to do fake out here? What does it actually have? And the Ogerpon coming out, we actually get to see this moveset. It's got kind of the standard, but the Follow Me is some interesting tech here. And Tail Glow. We could see some interesting setup attempt here.
And it looks like the Ogerpon is just going to go for the Spiky Shield. Oh, and the Fake Out connects into the Spiky Shield. The Grimmsnarl is going to take a decent little chunk of damage from that. And it looks like the Volbeat is just going to go for that Tail Glow, as you said, Chris, as you rightly pointed out. And the Magneton is going to go for a Rain Dance. That's some interesting little tech for this. Okay, what do we do with the Rain Dance Magneton, Chris?
You bring in your Swift Swim Basculegion would be my guess. I'm looking at possibly this being a parting shot from the Grimmsnarl angle, trying to get something in safely. But similarly, on the other side, after getting that Tail Glow off, something I happen to know about Volbeat is it gets Baton Pass. So could this be Baton Pass into the Como-O, who's then going to go off with a Throat Spray and just be an absolute boosted menace? There's the Follow Me to guarantee it.
Yep, as you rightly said, as you rightly guessed, there was the Baton Pass, and it looks like the West Texas Wingulls will be going out into the Zapdos, which is holding a Life Orb, so whatever it can manage to do, now that it has come out onto the field, it should be hitting pretty hard, and it looks like the Grimmsnarl is going to get that Prankster Thunderwave into the Ogerpon, as well as a follow-up Thunderbolt from the Magneton, taking a nice chunk out of the Ogerpon to round out this round 2 of this game.
Yeah, respectable damage coming out of this tier 4 Magneton, and as Chapel Hill, you gotta kind of be sitting there a little bit worried about the position you're in, but luckily you've still got Grimmsnarl. Hopefully you've got Light Screen and you can get that up here. I will also say, I think that the stream, if that makes sense, is a little bit delayed, but I've got the normal feed going. So right now we just saw the end of targeting and the turn starting.
All right. And it looks like the Grimmsnarl is going to set up that reflect, but the Zapdos is just going to hit 100% accurate because of that Rain Hurricane into the Grimmsnarl. It's going to take it down. So the reflect is not really going to do that much in this matchup right now. And it looks like the Magneton is just going to go for another Thunderbolt onto the Ogerpon and take it down into the red.
Yeah, good damage. Weird to go for the reflect here instead of a light screen after seeing the special attack boost getting baton passed to the Zapdos, but clearly a little bit more worried about this this Ogerpon than the Zapdos, and we can see why the Gastrodon comes out. Having that electric immunity could be really good here, but ooh, it's still a spooky Zapdos.
Zapdos is really looking to just kind of pop off and deal as much damage as it can right now. And I don't really think it's that worried about the Gastrodon, considering it can just hit that 100% accurate Hurricane right now. And it looks like that is exactly what it is going to do into the Gastrodon and take it down after the Ogerpon's initial follow me. So that is just a huge chunk of damage. And once again, there will be another Thunderbolt going into the Ogerpon. After the third round, it is finally able to take that menace down, and we will be forced to see another Pokemon come in for the West Texas Wingulls this time.
Yeah, and again, we're kind of seeing that issue that we saw before where it's like, where is the offense gonna come from Chapel Hill?
Mm-hmm.
This is solid Thunderbolt damage coming from the Magneton, but you're just not out in front and you're not doing anything to stop this Zapdos. Now, getting a Swift Swimmer out there could change the equation in the rain, but are you gonna do enough damage? And especially seeing this Perish Song angle means that you've got 3 turns to win this, and that's going to be a tough ask given the way things are currently going.
Yeah, especially if the West Texas Wingulls do decide to go for that detect, try and protect them for another turn on the Zapdos, which I think they did click. But we do have the Chapel Hill Hawluchas ready to just go all out this turn. They are ready to click their big buttons. They have hit the Terra Water on the Baskia Legion, and we will see what they will be hitting. The Wave Crash. Oh, but unfortunately it goes into the Zapdos's detect, and the Politoed gets that Perish Song off. There's now 3 turns left for the side of Chapel Hill, and if they can't get it done in 3 turns, then that's just curtains. That's game over. But the Magneton's Thunderbolt does do a huge chunk into that Politoed, activating its Citrus Berry and letting it heal back up to about 50%.
Yeah, but looking at that, another Thunderbolt to do it, and inconveniently for Chapel Hill, the Politoed snuck in right before the rain would reset, which means there's no more boost coming through for speed or damage for this Baskia Legion, and it's looking kind of rough. And at this point, it honestly begs the question, do you save the Zapdos's, boost here and go for offense, or do you just, stall out with Perish, but answer it immediately? It's party time.
It is indeed party time. Both players have clicked their Terra buttons. They have shown everything that they need to for this game. Oh, but that is a big, big, big protect on the Baskia Legion side, and also protect from the Politoed. So I'm thinking what could happen here is maybe Magneton is setting up another little another rain dance, and then we get another turn of Swift Swim, and that's exactly what happens. Oh, this is great. This is great. Chapel Hill has completely turned it around from what they were in before. They have a chance here.
Yeah, it's a chance. It's not a great one. You've still only got 2 turns to KO 3 Pokemon. But it is doable. You've put yourself in the spot. But it's always risky when you're Perish Songed to push that protect button and not put any offense out. But I do think it was the correct play here. It's giving Chapel Hill the best chance to actually pick these KOs up and not just insta-die to the Zapdos. Oh, what
Exactly.
a banger game.
Oof. I mean, it really is looking like a repeat of 2 champions duking it out. And as we are seeing here, there is a detect on the Zapdos, and the Baskia Legion goes for another move, I believe it was
Last respects.
a last respects into the Politoed. Thank you very much, Chris. And with that, the Politoed goes down, and the parish count is falling down to 1. This is getting down to dire straits for the Chapel Hill Hawluchas in this game 1.
Yeah, no protect on the Volbeat, and having just protected on the Zapdos means this is an incredibly interesting turn. If you can kill the Zapdos and the Volbeat here, you can actually pick up the win. Masterfully mathed out by the Chapel Hill Hawluchas, but we gotta see these damage rolls and how much they can actually do. But the Tailwind coming out from Volbeat.
Oh, Tailwind coming out, trying to get some speed control, and they do, in fact, get to go out first with the Thunderbolt from the Zapdos going into the Basket Legion, and that is enough to take it down. What a great showing from the West Texas Wingulls. Surely they can clean it up from this angle. I don't really think Magneton can do that much, though it does put out another respectable Thunderbolt into the Volbeat, and with that, the parish count has ended, and the game is officially over with the Volbeat as the last Pokemon standing.
Wow. What a game 1 as we watch the finishing animations play out. 1-0 to the West Texas Wingulls. What a close one.
That was such an exciting start to the match. There was so many close angles and so many calculations coming through from both sides there. That was just a great opener for these two, and I'm just really happy that we got to see a Parish song come out. I mean, how many times have we seen that in the draft league?
Oh, very few.
If at all.
If at all.
Oh. Man, what a great game.
What a great game. But with that, we're back. We got ourselves some time between games. Ali.
That's my cue that my face is back on the screen. But yeah, you see what came down to a very close game with one Pokemon standing. I think we got quite a few of your thoughts while the game was ending, but what I wanted to bring up was a lot of those speed tiers coming down to the end with the Parish song. That Tailwind at the end was risky. That Volbeat went down. True. That Magneton was the last thing to go down. That to Parish song there.
Very true. That could have.
I hadn't even considered that. I was just mainly concerned about the Zapdos getting out in front and trying to find that KO on the Basket Legion. But that's a great point that you brought up there.
Oh, there's also so many layers of, like, if a double protect goes off, could it cause any big problems or anything like that? But
yeah,
I'm curious, Ali, what adjustments do you think we're going to see from Chapel Hill going into this next one?
I mean, I feel like they need to find the tempo in the match much earlier. It's like they got it once the Basket Legion came out, but I feel like it was just stalled out.
Very good. Anything in particular you're looking to see to get that to happen as we start transitioning over to the game feed?
No, it might be some screen setup. It might be get the Moltres up and running. But yeah, looking at that, we are back on the game, and I feel like they heard me because they got the screen set up and the Moltres.
What a call from our ever the chef, always cooking host. But like you said, we see the Moltres and the Grimmsnarl, and we see a change on the other side to the Ogerpon and the Arcanine. Very interesting. The Intimidate not going to do much here, but threatening with this speedy rock slides is something you got to be a little concerned about.
I would say it's something you got to be very concerned about, especially with it being Stab, and Hisuian Arcanine does have a pretty respectable attack stat. I mean, whatever it hits, it's probably going to chunk. You're just really hoping that it doesn't miss its rock slides. I hope I didn't just caster curse him by doing that, but
I just want to know,
we'll see.
are you walking into a weakness policy right now, and is this Moltres going to get off the
Ooh.
dream start? Oh, the Dark Terra.
Ooh, it's a Dark Terra, so there's no chance of a weakness policy, at least off the rock slide here. But we could still see some huge damage coming out. The Ogerpon does go for the spiky shield. Hopefully no more fake outs going into that. And it looks like Grimmsnarl will be going to set up a reflect, really help out against this Hisuian Arcanine and this Ogerpon, as the rock slide does indeed come out and hitting onto the Grimmsnarl for a little bit of damage, not too much, as an air slash comes out from the Moltres' side into the protected Ogerpon. So not really much of a turn.
Yeah, not a whole lot happening as we're just now seeing that air slash connect with the Ogerpon. But it did tell us a lot about what both of these teams are trying to do here. As Ali stated, and as Chapel Hill is clearly thinking for themselves, it's got to be go from the get-go. No more slow play, no more patience, no more trying to set this up. We got to go now. Hitting that Terra button immediately, something they didn't do a whole lot of last season. And now, honestly, sitting in a pretty good position. The Arcanine stuck hitting Rock Slide is fine, but it's not doing a whole lot behind the Reflect. And the Ogerpon, also really sad to see that. Threatening some decent damage here from the Moltres, possibly outspeeding the Ogerpon, but now we see that Ogerpon get pulled.
Yep. It gets pulled out in favor of the Zapdos, and it looks like the Grimmsnarl will be going for a Thunder Wave onto the Arcanine, try and get it a little more speed control, maybe a couple para-flinch hacks. And as I say that, the Fiery Wrath comes out onto both, and it does flinch that Arcanine. That is massive for the side of the Chapel Hill Hawluchas here.
Yeah, massive to avoid that damage. Also massive to get this paralysis off. Now you're, channeling both the flinch chance and the para chance. Mm-hmm. And that was really good damage. We haven't even seen Berserk proc yet. Terra doing a lot of work to boost that Fiery Wrath damage, and Grimmsnarl happy to be here. It's kind of looking rough for West Texas, not having a good way to threaten both of these Dark-type Pokemon, but we do see a fun little treat hanging out in the back here in this Como that could start putting in work. An interesting thought, but it looks like we are
as you say that, it looks like it is coming out, as well as, a little bit of a sucker punch going into that Zapdos, and in return, Zapdos will give a nice little Thunderbolt back onto the Grimmsnarl, both giving decent chunks of damage, as the Moltres goes for, once again, another Fiery Wrath, and that is enough to KO the Zapdos and put another 25% chunk onto the Como-O.
Yeah, Galarian Bird better than Kanto Bird, I guess. That's what we just learned.
That confirmed. What can you say?
What can be said? But yeah, really interesting spot here. I think we've seen the full moveset now that the Sucker Punch has been revealed from this Grimmsnarl, which means it does not have access to a fairy move to really threaten this Como-O. The question is, has Caleb picked up on that, or are we just going to go for the Follow Me to try and get that Throat Spray off with the Clanger's Soul to get really set up here? Fiery Wrath going to ignore that, but you got to believe that Como is just going to tank that pretty well. And I also think we just saw that was Terra Rock on the Como-O, which doesn't bode well for a Game 3 if this Moltres doesn't hit that Terra.
That is true. That is very, very true. But we do see the Follow Me coming out from the Ogerpon, and the Thunder Wave coming out from the Grimmsnarl going into that Ogerpon. Don't know if it was meant for the Como-O. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But then we see another Air Slash coming out from the Moltres into the Ogerpon, taking another huge chunk as the Como goes for that Clangerous Soul, boosting everything it needs to, boosting it all up, and on top of that, getting the Throat Spray bonus. So now it is really ready to dish out huge chunks of damage and hopefully just ruin Chapel Hill's day, but we'll see.
I mean, we gotta see. This paralysis on the Follow Me is going to tell us a lot about how things are about to go down. If it happens, it's going to be devastating. If it doesn't, West Texas is going to be in such a good spot here. That's going to be huge damage into this Moltres.
Mhm.
But it's all going to come
Yeah.
down to that famous Pokemon coin flip.
All it comes down to is a little bit of luck, as we see that Grimmsnarl being pulled out in favor of the Gastrodon, as the Moltres just goes for a protect this turn, actually. But the Ogerpon was paralyzed. That actually could have been hugely capitalized on. But Chapel Hill choosing to play it a little bit safer, as a couple of moves just go into the Moltres. It doesn't really do anything. It was just kind of a swap around turn this turn.
Yep. Also, kind of big to just get the scouting out of the way there. The big thing is Gastrodon not being able to protect means that West Texas is in a weird spot here of, do you want to go aggressive with the Ogerpon? Are you worried about the parrot? Do you want to follow me? But now we get to see it.
Yep. There goes the Moltres in favor of the Basculegion this time. And, oh, no, not another paralysis, Brock. You hate to see it, as the Gastrodon just goes for an Icy Wind, lowering the speed of both the opposing Pokemon on the West Texas Wingull side and dealing, just a little bit of chip damage here. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, but losing the speed boost from that Clinger's Soul, kind of problematic for this Como. Not sure how the Pokemon was trained, but it may have been calced to only be out in front of things after that boost. You can't go for it again. Terra's definitely not safe in front of double water plus ground. The Como went from being in such a great spot to being in such a terrible position, actually. But weirdly enough, not afraid to go for this Terra, maybe. Definitely thinking
Heavily
about it.
considering it. Yeah, it's and it looks like we will be seeing a Terra going onto the Como. It's going for that Terra Rock, though it does seem really, really risky. It's very much putting it at a disadvantage, considering there could be a wave crash or something coming out from the Basculegion.
Oh, but it's actually safe because of the Storm Drain from the partner Gastrodon. The Basculegion actually can't hit a water move here, and it's Water Absorb plus Follow Me from the Ogerpon. So water moves are actually just doomed here. An incredibly heads-up play from Caleb that I feel really smart catching is that it's actually super safe to go for this, and now you're not weak to the Icy Wind anymore. Huge.
Oh, wait.
Galaxy Brain from Caleb.
That was crazy. You're so right. I mean, okay. That was a crazy action. That was a 5-head play, but really all it resulted in for that turn was just another Icy Wind being, brought down onto the West Texas side. Now they're down speed on the Como from their base speed, and who knows, maybe they still get KO'd by a wave crash from the Basculegion.
Yeah, sometimes going Galaxy mode backfires, but another paralysis on the Ogerpon.
Oh, you hate to see it, as we see the Basculegion go for a last respects. Oh, but the Como survives! Oh, and it gets to fire off a Terra Blast into the Basculegion, and it takes it down. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is crazy turn of events.
Such a huge live in the Earth Power coming out now to finish off the Como, but getting that trade-off in a doomed position after your Follow Me got parried again. You'll still take that trade. What a huge live from the Como.
Oh yeah, you take that every day of the week. And I would just like to point out that Como KO'd the Basculegion through Reflect. That is crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh wait, is it a special Como?
It's a special
It is,
Como.
because it has the throat spray. I'm sorry. I was going off on a completely wrong tangent there. I'm sorry.
Arcanine of the Distant Past, though, we haven't talked enough about the fact that this is a shiny Hisuian Arcanine.
That's a fair point. It is a pretty good shiny, All things considered, it's a pretty good shiny.
I also feel like it's all we have to talk about. This state looks pretty doomed for West Texas, with your Scarfed Mon being parried, your Redirector being parried. You're kind of hoping for some silly stuff to happen here. You're down your Terra. It's looking a bit worrisome, but definitely worlds where you can pick this up, but it's looking pretty rough.
Yeah, and as we've been seeing throughout this game, the para chances have not been great for Caleb. And, it doesn't look to be getting any better as the fake out goes into the Ogerpon, flinching it. And was that another
That was
paralysis?
another paralysis on the
Oh,
Arcanine.
that's
You
just
know,
so sad. There's
Chapel
just
Hill played such a
some,
good game.
yeah,
It's always gonna feel bad when you get parried this many times in a game. Super
it
unlucky.
is.
But a lot of tech and adjustments have been revealed here, so a lot of good information going into the next game as Grimmsnarl picks up that last KO to seal the deal for us. But oh baby, we got ourselves a series.
We have a series. We're going to a game 3 for sure. And oh boy, like you said, what adjustments. We got to see the Moltres, and it kind of just went off right at the start.
We got stream sniped despite not being live right now, so I don't know what's going on. There's some like Discord call leaks.
Oh, how so?
They heard us from the other channel.
What did they hear?
Well, Chapel Hill got all
They
these
heard
call
me
right.
say open Grimstar Moltres.
Yeah.
Oh, true. True, and it worked out. Look at you. Not even your team,
Yeah.
and you know how to pilot it.
I'm a
Impressive.
good Pokemon player in theory, but not in practice.
No, you do great in practice. It's the games where it goes wrong.
But yeah, quick thoughts, because they look to be speed running into the next game.
They're fired
We're
up.
already getting a three game series. This season's looking great.
Feels so good to be back on cart, baby.
It does. Oh man, I love it.
So much better. Your button presses are so much more punishing.
True.
There is no back button, baby.
No. Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
So, the question on everybody's mind is, did the tier 4s come back out? Right? What do you think, Ali?
I think Volbeat comes back. I'm trying not to look at the team preview right now so I don't cheat. But I think the Volbeat comes back. The Magneton might. But I feel like Politoed is doing Magneton's job for Chapel Hill.
It's fair. If it comes. If it comes.
Yeah,
No
that
spoilers.
is true.
The stream doesn't know what we know. But yeah, any exciting changes? You predicted it last time, so I'll put you on the spot. What does West Texas do to try and bring it back here without cheating?
I think West Texas doesn't bring the Arcanine because, it didn't get to do what it wanted to, but I feel like there's other things better in that slot. I want to say Parish Song comes back with the soundproof Como.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
So that's something I realized in the last game, but I didn't say because I'm supposed to be quiet.
that is
some
smart.
Spicy tech. That is
I will
very
say,
smart.
also,
I like
Overcoat does look good against the team that has Brute Bonnet, but with that, those are the trainer cards, and we are getting ourselves in there.
Oh
in
boy.
Game 3.
Game 3. And it looks like we are getting to see the Grimmsnarl and the Moltres coming back out for the Chapel Hill Hawluchas. And we get to see the West Texas Wingulls leading with the Ogerpon and the Como-O this time. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
A classic double protect on the West Texas side just to scout out what they're trying to do over there in the Chapel Hill boot camp. No fake out.
Nice little chunk of damage back for that fake out. Just a quick little jab back. Always love it. Spiky Shield is such a interesting move, we will say. Definitely not one of my personal favorites, but hey, it's there. It's okay.
Well, it's definitely gotten its mileage specifically against these Grimmsnarl fake outs.
It has. It really has this series. It's putting in work.
No Terra turn 1 this time. Looking a bit
That's
spicy
true.
as we get into this turn 2.
Yeah, and it looks like the Ogerpon will just be going for, once again, another follow me. And this is really just looking like a rinse and repeat of Game Two's opener, where we are seeing another Thunder Wave and another Air Slash going into the Ogerpon, as Komo just kind of goes for another Clangorous Soul, gets that boost up, loses a little chunk of HP, but it's really ready to just kind of go all out. And as you pointed out before, no Terra Dark initially from the Moltres this time, so it should not be as affected by the Aura Sphere coming out from the Como, hopefully, but we will see what happens here in this upcoming turn.
Yep, and welcome back to the Nightmare Ogerpon, says the Chapel Hill
Mm.
Hawluchas.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the punishment zone, but oh man, a whole lot of nothing happening, and yet everybody's just getting ready to do something on both sides. You gotta feel. Do
Oh,
we
yeah.
see the big terrors this turn, or is everybody just playing it slow?
Well, it looks like we are going to be playing it slow again as the Grimmsnarl switches out in favor of the Gastrodon, and there will just be another Protect coming out for the Moltres, just really looking to slow play this turn as a Follow Me Unparad finally comes out from the Ogerpon, and the Aura Sphere goes into the Gastrodon, which does a pretty decent chunk of damage as it gets to heal up a little bit with its leftovers at the end of this turn.
Yeah, I think you'll take that chunk. A good read on the Moltres Protect there,
Mm-hmm.
being a bit slick with it. And the girl boss finally gets to girl boss while parrot. You love to see it. Shouts out to Ogerpon, but kind of an interesting spot here. I don't know if you really actually gained any tempo with that turn as Chapel Hill. You're buying a lot of time, but you got to get aggressive at some point. And West Texas thinking that the Terra is not going to come through for the Moltres here, getting ready to do this big Terra Blast after the Protect turn. Looking for a big punish on that scared play.
Yeah, just really hoping that there won't be some double protect shenanigans or anything coming out from the side of the Chapel Hill Hawluchas. But as you said, it looks like it will just be that big boosted Terra Blast going into the Moltres, and it is super effective damage, and it is definitely more than enough to take out that bird, which is very sad because we all love Moltres in this call.
And they just love to keep a girl boss down. Another para for the Ogerpon. The Icy Wind
Mhm.
coming out. Trying to get some speed control back, but oh, you would have loved to get that Horn Leech off there.
100%. Especially it being quad effective into that Gastrodon probably would have. I mean, it was already chunked down to some health. It probably would have taken that thing out. You know, you're just really not liking all the pairs that you've been going through this series if you are the West Texas Wingulls. And, you know, having suffered some really serious freezes in my playoff series last season, I am very much feeling for him in this scenario.
Completely agree. And, you know, back into this defensive positioning, even with this parry, you got to kind of like where you're at as West Texas. The big threat from last time that was putting on a lot of the pressure out of the way this time. No Terra
Hmm.
used yet, though. Is a little bit spooky, but if it's that Basket Legion in the back, you're kind of okay with that with your Water Absorb Ogerpon still sitting there. You know, eventually it'll get to move, right?
You would really hope so. But it looks like this turn will be another little bit of a stall turn as both the Protect and the Spiky Shield come out from the West Texas Wingulls. And it's just a couple of moves into Protects, and it's not a whole lot of anything this turn either.
Yeah, just trying to make sure that nobody gets faked out and blown up there in either direction.
Hmm.
West Texas just trying to make sure that they get as much of a chance to move and play the game as they can. But
Yeah, you know, paralysis providing. That is their only hope.
yeah.
But
Oh,
it looks like. Oh, go ahead.
oh no! I was just excited to see the move go off.
Ah, I see, I see. It looks like it will be the Ogerpon going for another follow me as the Terrablast comes out from the Como into the Grimmsnarl. Oh, but because of that reflect, I believe it lives with, you know, just single digit HP there. As the Earth Power comes out from the Gastrodon into the Como. No Pokemon down, but there have been huge chunks of life taken off this turn.
Yeah, Grimmsnarl holding on by the skin of their teeth and a dream. Oh, it's looking rough, but this Gastrodon's actually starting to get a good chunk of HP back. And you know he's got this Spadef boost on Como, but one Earth Power drop gets rid of that instantly. And this could be a game if you're over-focusing on the Grimmsnarl. But here it comes.
Here it comes once again. Another follow me, another sucker punch. It fails once again here. But we get another Terra Blast coming out from the Como into the Grimmsnarl, looking to pad its stats a little bit, take out that low health Grimmsnarl, and, you know, it gets the KO. There was not much health left there as the Gastrodon goes for another Icy Wind, get the speed lowered even more, really trying to hopefully get out in front of the Como and the Ogerpon, but it's not much damage. It is just Icy Wind off a Gastrodon.
Yep. And I think here, if we see the Basculegion come out, it's just a switch to the Politoed if it's there. You hit Perish Song. There it is. And you know you've got an in-game where you've got a Water Absorb Ogerpon hanging out, forcing that last respects. You've got the Spiky Shield. Could be the easy way out. Maybe you're scared of the Para, so you just stick it out with these two, but still in a pretty good position. The speed drops mean the Basculegion's probably going to get to move first here, so it might be the end of Como, but we saw that huge live last time. A lot of question marks this turn.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you were going for is what they should have done here. I agree with it, but as it looks like the Basculegion and the Como will be going for a couple protects here, as the Gastrodon actually gets out in front of the Ogerpon and manages to get an Icy Wind off, but it's not enough to take it down, and the Horn Leech comes out. Para giveth and para taketh away, and that is enough for the Gastrodon to go down.
Like I said earlier, you gotta get that Horn Leaf off eventually, right? This time, not quite so para-hacked. Sitting in a great spot, 4v1 versus the Basculegion. You've got to imagine this is pretty sealed up for the West Texas Wingulls, barring some insane paralysis luck and some big crits or something from the Basculegion, but you're probably going to have to hit wave crashes and take some extra damage. Seems like a matter of time. What a masterclass of a Game 3 from West Texas, adapting to what happened in Game 2. Being willing to play out the paralysis luck again, knowing that that was just kind of unlucky, and sticking to this Ogerpon lead gun.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say they really stuck to their guns, and they said, no, I think the Ogerpon is not an issue. I just got unlucky. And they've really shown that, you know, just being able to follow me spam and have the water absorb to just always be a present threat in front of what was supposed to be such this carry potentially for the Chapel Hill side. It's just I'm really glad that they stuck to their guns and that they were just able to keep it going. As another Terror Blast comes out from the Como, it's not enough to take out the Basculegion just yet, but it's in dire straits for the Chapel Hill side.
Yeah, and I think this Vacuum Wave might just do it here, or a Sphere. Oh, a big crit! Saving the differential a little bit, but
yeah, it's not a 4-0 sweep or anything here, but unfortunately, that will be the end of the Basculegion there.
KO denied. No bonus.
It does get the
stats.
KO denial.
No,
we get the bonus
stats.
Points for just a little bit of BM there. We take it.
Absolutely. As I get us moved back over. Oh, what a series!
That was a really fun series. I honestly thought John was going to rally and take Game 3 there as well. I thought they had kind of figured it out, but West Texas coming out with the counter adjustments, and they showed why they're champions once again, you know?
Yeah, and I think
it's just...
Go ahead.
There's just so many layers to every turn that, like, you can never really know what's going to happen and what you should do on that turn. Is para going to happen? Is this follow me going to go through? Am I going to hit into the water absorb, or am I going to last respects into this slot? Is Soundproof gonna pop up? Is Parasong gonna pop up? There's so much going into it.
I think it's kind of the double-edged sword you sign yourselves up for when you go Prankster Thunderwave. You say, look, I may not know what's going on, but you're not going to know either.
Yeah.
Got to do that to a lot of people last season. Can confirm.
Yeah, he did.
It give it and take it away.
Oh boy, does it.
Famously a Grimmsnarl fan. But, yeah. Wow. What a series. What a great adjustment in Game 2 from Chapel Hill, and what a great counter adjustment in Game 3 from West Texas. Putting a pretty dominant stamp on that after Game 1 was kind of close. Game 2 kind of snuck away and was a little bit less tight.
Yeah.
But
And then Game 3 was even less tight, but in the opposite direction.
exactly.
It was crazy.
Ali,
Well,
we did a whole lot of talking during the games. What's your big takeaway from this whole thing? What did you really like seeing from both of these teams? What are you excited to see going into their future matches?
So I really liked a lot of the funky strats on the West Texas side. Just being able to get those certain immunities, get the water absorb for that Basculegion, make it a non-factor. The Rock Terra was really interesting
That was my idea.
and still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I mean it worked. There's something. I like seeing Chapel Hill's adjustments going into Game 2, knowing they had to get that tempo back. But yeah, I mentioned there's a lot going into every turn, and that's the magic of doubles play. And I am once again gonna roast singles players. Cut that out.
nope, leave that in.
Nope. Never miss an
No,
opportunity
no,
to flame
I
singles
said
players.
the singles players cut it out. Don't cut that out of the
Yeah,
video.
yeah. Not cut it out of the video.
Keep it in the video, yeah.
Quit playing singles unless you're Moxie boosted. then you can keep that up. You're doing some good work there. But everybody else, that's nonsense. Stop it.
Play doubles.
Play doubles.
Play doubles.
Oh, well, with that, I think our time here has come to a close. Ali, why don't you send us on out with whatever your best send out is?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us in this cast. We've got ideally like 10 more for the rest of the season. I don't know how the numbers work. Chris is the numbers guy. I'm just here to look pretty on camera.
Oh.
But yeah, thanks for joining us in this. Make sure to check out the streams throughout the week from the various Draft League member streams. Check out the YouTube. The whole draft video's up. It's a 3.5. Chris is making a finger at me.
Oh no, you keep going. This is for after. I think we may have a winner interview incoming.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, Caleb.
But yeah,
is gonna come
the
through.
draft video's up on the YouTube. Go watch that, listen to that. You can see a lot of the thought process or the lack thereof going into each of these teams.
I think there is a lot of thought going into your team in the first 4 rounds. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you'll see my game up on the YouTube soon enough. There was something there.
There was some cooking. Oh, and Caleb's here just in time to throw off Ali's
let's
camera.
go.
That's so perfect. I actually love it.
There
Do I need
No.
my camera on or off?
Oh, no, you can leave it off. It's fine. Unless
Okay.
you want to just like split screen with Ali. It's gonna look wonky. We'll fix that for the next TriCast. But yeah. So Caleb, thank you for joining us. Congrats on
Yeah.
the big win. Just got a couple quick questions for you. Quick little winner interview. Game 2 was pretty rough. The para hacks came in thick. What was that like in the mental zone, and how did you try and correct that going into Game 3?
So game 2 paraprocs were brutal. I think the main thing was reminding myself that I had a 1-0 lead at that point and to not get upset about it. I know that's really hard for me in the past. Like I fell apart doing that multiple times in the past. But a lot of it was like, hey, if it works out, we get the move. Great, we're in a good spot. Just hit the right buttons and hope it connects. Obviously, didn't work out game two. Game three, there was a lot of pressure on myself to get rid of Grimmstraw, so we didn't have to worry about Thunderwaves anymore. You saw a lot of follow memes on the paralyzed Ogrepon who try to thwart that. Thankfully, we got lucky with the Parapox there. Otherwise, I think it could have been a mess the whole way through.
Yeah. So talking about going into that game three, last question, real quick. Uh,
Yeah.
we you got the mental right. You got in position. What was the call with the Ogrepon Como lead? Was it just to try and thwart specifically the Grimstar or Moltres? Was there a layer deeper to that? Anything you can let us know about that one?
Sure. So I talked about it a little bit in team preview when I was live, but the whole idea was if it's fake out Thunderwave turn one from him, which was successful game two, and I thought he was going to go for it game three. It's if I just double protect, I stop the fake out, and then I can go for the follow me, sacrifice the one Thunderwave target, and then go for the Clangorous Souls and hope that's enough damage to KO the Grimmstrong. It wasn't, but that was kind of the game plan going forward, and then I thought just fighting in general was good into his team. It didn't look good game two, but game three, I think it kind of paid off mostly with the Terra Rock Terra Blast. Was the big change. I think the big momentum swing.
Yeah. Anybody you'd like to thank for having Terra Rock Como or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean that was something you brought up in prep. I was thinking like steel or something like that, and you're like, I think rock might be good. And so thankfully I had 50 rock terror shards and gave it a shot, and it was the big difference in game three because I don't think we get that K that one hit on the Gloria Moltres without it. So
Well, thank you so much for stopping by for
yeah,
an interview. We'll let you get back to the post match celebrations, but
yeah.
thanks again.
Hey, thank y'all. I look forward to seeing the cast.
But with that, and having already had Ali's great exit, any final words from you, Jacob?
I mean, that was just a great opener for the YouTube channel, I guess, for week one. Um, well, not really the opener, but you guys know what I mean. It was the great first cast we got to do back. It was a really great series to cast over. And I'm just really excited and also dreading playing against those two because they're in my division. So the points matter just a little bit more and their teams look spooky. So that's going to be fun.
All right, Ali, send us home.
Outro part two. Good night.
Woo!